Thank you. This is my 8th or 9th appearance up here on this county TV show, and it's supported by the county taxpayers, so I'm glad of that. And what I talked about was corruption that's protected by the authorities in this county. I produced hard evidence, not hearsay, not what I thought, not what somebody else thinks, on 3 vehicles that were transported across the state line brought to this county for the purpose of an illegal sale. These vehicles violated numerous serious traffic and criminal laws. The Sheriff's Office, the Maryland State Police, the State's Attorney's Office, the court system, and the Queen Anne's County government protects these criminals. The perpetrators of these 3 crimes are also suspects in a felonious burglary and $22,000 vandalism of my home. The official burglary report was rewritten 3 months after the fact, which is a crime, and contained over 65 mistakes in it. In violation of the Freedom of Information Act, Sheriff Crossley denied me access to the burglary report, which is public record. In writing from a Detective Sergeant Mitch Park, I was advised that Sheriff Crossley lost the reports to this felonious burglary. That turned out to be a lie. This was proven to be a lie when Miss Amy Bonner, Mr. Comfort's secretary, walked over to the police station and pulled the reports out of the file that were lost. I produced evidence that law enforcement in this county is illegally stopping, searching citizens with the encouragement, consent of the state attorney's office and the court system. Last week I talked about my wife being attacked inside of my home by Mark Alexander's Rottweiler dog. Mark Alexander has admitted that he had involvement in this felonious burglary and $22,000 vandalism of our home. Animal Control Officer Walt Tucker falsified those reports with the consent of his supervisor, John Conover, County Administrator Paul Comfort, Mr. Frank Cradaville, the state's attorney.
Mr. Chairman, can we,
yeah.
Mr. Richter, first of all, every time you've come in with a complaint, we have sent it to the appropriate authorities. In this county, we have separation of powers. The sheriff is a separate constitutional officer, and other than the budgetary powers that we have, and we've tried to use them over him at times, that's the only authority we have over them. So you can come in and talk to us about policy or issues, but there's very little that we can do other than turn them over to those appropriate people. It would be helpful if, and I understand your concern, but it's helpful if we do not talk about specific individuals or their names in public like this, because you're talking about your concerns about your rights being violated, and we're very concerned about that. But when you accuse people of things like this in this venue, obviously, if they are not guilty of the things that you're saying, you're causing harm to them. And I know you wouldn't want to do that because you wouldn't want to have people harmed just like you were harmed in the past. So I would suggest that maybe, I don't know if there's somebody else that we can get you with, but this, we deal with zoning and education and issues deal with the county. The sheriff is a separately elected issue, and if you would like, I'm more than willing to help facilitate a meeting with the new sheriff-elect. We could sit down with him if you think that'd be helpful, but this is not helpful. It's not getting us anywhere. It's like hitting your head against the wall every week. All we're doing is taking your complaint and forwarding it on. And all we're doing, and it doesn't help when you come up and then the same people who are asking to forward the complaint, you're saying bad things about it. Makes them less.
Bad things. These are crimes. I have the right to freedom of speech. What I'm saying here, these people are public servants,
and I respect your right.
And they're working on the taxpayer's dollar.
And I respect that.
And you guys control the taxpayer's dollar in these people, and that's why I'm bringing it up here. And I'm also bringing it up because we're on television, and I want the whole county to know and the whole world to know how it's run up here. That's why I'm here.
And I respect your right, and I'm asking that we figure out a way to productively together solve the problem.
I went through every chain of command. I've done everything the right way, and I've never gotten any justice in this county since I've been here. What I'm talking about is serious. This is more important to the people of this country than building and zoning. We've got a constitution that gives us our freedom, and that's what I'm talking about.
I understand that, and I respect your rights, but Mr. Richter, you need to respect other people's rights as well.
Well, whose rights did I violate?
I think when you list people's names and make accusations about them, then you're no better than the people who are doing things to you.
Well, I'm glad you're saying they're no better than me, because that's why I'm up here, because I'm equal to everybody else.
If you have serious concerns about any employee, then bring them to us, and we will fully investigate.
I've written letters to just about everybody up here. I don't even get replies on registered letters. I'm just so glad that the taxpayers have this television show.
All right, well, I'm more than willing, I am more than willing to sit down with you personally and try to get your concerns in the appropriate venue, but it doesn't do us any good for you every week.
It does plenty good, because until you just said this, I got nowhere. At least I'm getting some attention now.
That's not fair. I've talked to you before about this, and I have forwarded every one of your complaints over there.
I haven't got a response on any of them when you forwarded
my point to you is, Mr. Richter, is that we have no authority over a separately elected individual. And my point to you is, and I understand what you're saying, and I'm not denying you don't have the right to do what you're doing today. You do. There's no question about that. But just because you have that right doesn't mean that you should exercise it. And what I'm asking is that...
If it's my right, I will exercise it.
Well, I understand that. What I'm asking is that you use a little judicial thought here, and let's sit down together, and I'll set up a meeting with Mr. Hoffman, and we'll work through it, and we'll talk about it.
Good.
And I make that promise to you today as an individual. So
glad I got your promise, and I thank you.
You got a pen? You write down my phone number. You're going to call me tomorrow. We'll set up a time.
You got my phone number. You call me, and we'll set it up.
Give it to me, Mr. Richter.
Not on television.
But I want to get it. We're going to sit down and talk about it. But I would ask that you, as you give me an opportunity to work with you, and that you stop mentioning people by name at these meetings, because it's not productive. Okay.
Well, I've got the right to mention their name, especially if they're paid for by the taxpayers, and that's what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about here are crimes.
I understand that. And
I've talked about the Maryland State Police and these sheriff guys are literally stopping these people out here searching for them. This is all wrong. There's got to be somebody to stand up and point out what's wrong, and we need some politicians to do something about it.
I will look at every one of your complaints. I don't think that I have any authority to do anything about it. But my point to you is, just because you have the right to do something doesn't mean that you should. And I'm just asking you.
If I got the right, I should. What are you talking about?
Let
me finish what I'm saying here, and then I'll leave.
How much more time do you have on there, Margie?
I stopped it when Commissioner Ransom
all right, well, anyway, with all the evidence I produced, Mr. Capani, who runs this little thing here, you did nothing. But however, you did try to deny me my constitutional rights when I was up here the last time, trying to curb my speech. And the freedom from our country, our freedom comes from the Constitution, and it was written with the blood of brave Americans who fought and died for us. As I speak, brave men and women are dying right now in Iraq, so I can get up here and I can run my mouth and talk. And that's what this country's about. I hold their sacrifice dear to my heart, and I'm telling you, Mr. Capani, Mr. Sheriff Crosby, Judge South, Judge Clark, Senator Pipkin, I'll stand my ground and fight for my constitutional rights. It's a disgrace that you tried to shut me up, Mr. Capani. You don't have the right to do that. I got the constitutional right to talk. I mean, you might not have respect for those people over there fighting and dying, but I do. And you're not going to stop me, none of you, for exercising my constitutional rights. End of story. My name's Pete Richter, 643-0286. Thank you.